Hi my friends, I'm Rakyne Awaan. Welcome back to my new video. Hope you guys are fine, having a great time. I'm back with a new content today. Okay. Firstly, I have to say, we all live in a society. We live in a family. We have neighbors, we have friends, we have our grandparents, we have our brothers and sisters. We all together, we live in a society. Our society is very safe. We have clean and safe homes. Our homes is clean water supply. With electricity, we can get fresh food and fresh groceries and medicines from the market. We can get the medication and health care from the hospital. But how did human being get so modernized? Everything has a start. It was not same always. It had a start. So let's start our video. When was the Stone Age? People used to hunt for their food. They would go to the forest. They would hunt their meal. They would hunt bears, deers, lions, whatever they can get. They would scavenge for roots and fruit, etc. They don't know how to grow food. But when they realize how to grow food, they did not have to immigrate from one place to another. They can grow their own food. To grow food like wheat or rice, you can say, it takes time. Only a hard-working farmer knows the sacrifices and the hard labor behind the golden grains and the golden field of crops. So, when the farming was invented, they have to settle in a certain place so they can grow their crops. So, this is how the first settlements and first society start to emerge. When maintaining a farm isn't easy, it needs a group of people. A single one or two cannot maintain entire farm. So they need a group of people, and they will live together, a society. They would help each other to grow, harvest, replant, store, and process the crops. Imagine a group of 10 or 20. They're living together. They will have kids. They will have their kids, then grandsons. Then the community will get bigger. Then more people will join their settlement. And from 30 to 20 or 30, they would increase day by day to 50, 60, 1,000, 100 in hundreds of years. Like the population will grow. More population means more food. More food means more farming. More farming means more labor. And more labor means more people, and more people mean more house, so there will be more houses. This is how a society and settlement started to grow. Now let's come to the part of architecture. The Stone Age architecture was very different than the modern architecture. They would use the natural resources around them like wood, stone, straw, hay, etc. They would make huts and sheds. They would make sheds for their animals. They will use fences to guard their animals. They would use straw and clay to make their huts. They would use straw or clay in the walls, and most of the time they would use straws and hay on the roof, because they realized clay makes their buildings stronger. They would also dig wells. They would fertile and they would harvest their land, and they will also hold their land. They used cows, pigs, horses, camels. They realized if they don't kill them and they tame them, it's more beneficial for them, because they can get milk from the cow, feathers from the chicken. They can get wool and fur from animals like sheep. So they're getting resources from them and using them in their daily lives. So if they kill them, they can use them one time. If they keep them, they can use them many times in many ways. So this is how the first settlements started to grow. Settlement, I mean towns and villages. When the towns and villages started to grow, and more houses and more population. If you have a team of 1,000 people, most likely among the 1,000 people, all 1,000 will not be good. There would be some people who would cause trouble. That's the same. When you have a big settlement, there was more crime and more law breaking. So here's come the next part. The next part is law and selecting a leader. To maintain a settlement and grow the settlement and for the good of their people, you need a good leader, a good law, and a good system. So for all of that, they need a leader who will influence this settlement or village or town, you can say. So different settlements selected their leader in different ways, like who was the strongest, who was the most hardworking, who was the most intelligent, who was the most oldest, or who was the most honored, who was the most richest, etc. When they select their leader is always, the first leaders of the settlement will always be friendly with their people because they had less greed of power and they don't know what is the true potential. Select their leader is they can get. They will be less greedy and they will be more friendly with their people. Like he is the leader, but he is like 10 other people. They would help each other. The king will help his people in different chores. Like the king and a normal guy would work together in fields. The king had no greed of power at that time. That was the age of harmony and peace. Here comes the next part, law. In our modern society, we have law. Every country has its law and rules and regulations. When a settlement grew in population, crime started to occur. So maintain and reduce those crimes, they need law. So they made laws by different parameters, like which punishment will be given if a person steals, which punishment will be given if he kills someone, which punishment will he be given if he vandalized something. Each settlement has its own punishment. Some executed them, some just beat them up, or some would just lock them up, or some would just kick them out of the settlement, etc. They would use different punishments in case of different law breaking. This is the interesting part. Let's come to the Bronze Age settlement. This is the era of evolution, you can say, evolution. This is the age, the Bronze Age, where a human being switched from stone and wood weapon to copper and some iron weapons. When they invented copper and they realized melting copper in high heat liquefies them and softening them in the fire makes it soft. By this, they made jewelries, they made weapons, spearheads, arrows, hatchets, etc. You can say. They also used them to reinforce the tires of the cars that time. I don't mean by Teslas or BMW or that type of thing. I'm talking about horse carriages or vehicles that were pulled by the cows or animal they had. When the Bronze Age come, their clothing also changed. They didn't use just a piece of leather or piece of cloth. They used well-stitched clothes at that time. Well-stitched clothes. Even the fashion we do these days, the concept of fashion also came. Like they wear jewelry, they had long hair, decorated their hair, they wear jewelry, and they were different styles of getting dressed up. And the settlements of that time was much more bigger, of 5,000, 6,000, etc. There were more bigger population of settlements at Bronze Age. In next episode, I will talk about the ancient settlements of Greeks and Egyptians. That would be a very informative video, and you can get a lot of information about the ancient settlements of that time. So till then, bye bye.